Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Happy New Year and Happy New You. Are you ready to rise and thrive in 25? Those are our two words of the year, and I think they symbolize what we're all going to do in 2025, and that is rise to the occasion. We're going to face fear with the acronym FEAR, face everything and rise. We're going to have adversity. We're going to have challenges. We're going to have barriers and obstacles to our wishes, to our dreams, to our goals. And we are going to, rather than forget everything and run and panic, and instead of fighting everything and resist, we are going to face everything and rise in 2025. And of course, we're going to thrive in 2025. And I know that that's just a catchy thing that you've seen a lot of people throw around, and you're going to hear it a lot more. Thrive in 25, but we're going to rise and thrive in 2025. And we need to understand that the real word behind thrive. Do you even know what thrive really means? Thrive means essentially to prosper. And guess what? We are starting today a 7-part series that is going to teach you how to rise and thrive in 2025. And I'm going to share with you the secret to prosperity. How are you going to prosper in 2025? How are you going to rise and thrive in 2025? I am going to share with you the secrets to that over a 7-part series, 7 days, 7 episodes, 7 key concepts that's going to help you rise and thrive in 25. We are going to cover the foundational concepts that allow you to truly build your business, a base of knowledge for how to build a business based on love, generosity, and appreciation. And what does it truly take to have a thriving referral-based business? What a great way to start the year, isn't it? What a great way to start a business. Love, generosity, and appreciation, rise and thrive. And guess what? What a great way to start your legacy. Your legacy starts today. Enjoy this 7-part series, 7 days, 7 episodes, 7 key concepts, 7 secrets of success when it comes to a referral-based business. I cannot wait to get your feedback on this. This 7-part series starts now. Let's rise and thrive in 25. There's an opportunity in today's marketplace. I hope that everybody realizes it. What's happened is in 2021 and 2022, we had to work at a certain level. We had to do things at a certain level. And now in 2023, we've got to do things better. We've got to do things more, and we've got to do things stronger. So it's one of those where what we wanted to do is go back to the essential elements of getting referrals, and like talking about the 3 C's of referability in some depth, so that everybody here understands like clearly exactly what it takes to generate referrals. And doesn't that make sense for the Referrals podcast? I have touched on these 3 elements in lots of other podcasts, but I've never done a deep dive into each and every one of them as to what they are and what they're not. So I'm excited about this. We're going to do a 3-part series on the 3 C's of referability, and the result will be you being more referable and you getting more referrals. Welcome to the Referrals podcast. I think it makes sense. So with that, Sheri, shoot.
Okay. So the 3 C's: character, competence, and communication.
That's right. So the 3 C's of referability are character, competence, and communication. And you're like, well, I know about character, and I'm just going to tell you that maybe you do and maybe you don't. And you're like, well, no, I know about competence. And I'm going to go, well, maybe you do and maybe you don't. And then you're going to I'm going to go to communication and you're going to, oh, I'm not great at that. And I'm going to go, it's okay. You can be great at that. And that's kind of going to be your reaction through this. And in the end, you're going to have clarity, and that's going to be powerful for all of you. So let's talk about character.
Yeah.
Not being a character, in today's world and TikTok and, Threads and Instagram, it's like, I'm going to be funny. I'm going to be goofy. I'm going to be ridiculous. So I get attention, I get view. But the thing is like nobody uses the ridiculous. No, you know what? And Russell Shaw told me this a long time ago. Nobody uses the funny realtors. When it comes to finances, nothing is freaking funny. So we work in the financial, we are a financial fiduciary for our clients. So if you want to be funny on your own, right? But don't be funny when it comes to people's money, honey, you little bunny, and your nose is runny, and today is sunny. That's funny. Or punny.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So tell us explain what character means.
Yeah.
In the context of referrals.
Yeah. So character at its basis is doing the right thing every single time. So doing the right thing every single time. So, I mean, that's such a simplistic definition, right? So we have honesty. And so I'm just saying that honesty always wins. I will tell you, I do not lie. I'm a horrible liar. My son has gotten that gift from me. He's the worst liar I've ever seen. He tried to lie a couple times and it's like all over his face. And we're like, you're lying. He's like, nuh-uh. It's like, yeah, you are. He goes, okay, yes, I am. And so if you just tell everybody the truth, then you don't have to remember what you told people. And that's the best way to go. So honesty, and then integrity is keeping promises. But this is where we're going to go even to the next level, right? Is integrity is not just keeping promises to others. And I'm going to delve into that a little bit, but it's also keeping promises to yourself. That's a tough one. So you said you were going to make calls from 9 to 10 a.m. Did you make calls from 9 to 10 a.m.? Or did you find something else to do? And that means staying true to your schedule. Now, you're like, well, who's going to know if I miss those calls? Well, the problem is the most important person in all of this is you. So the fact is, and if you can't count on you, can others? So you have to be able to count on you. Now, and I'll reel that in a little bit, is one of the problems that happens when you can't count on yourself is when you overcommit. So you need to get really good at saying no to the things that don't serve you and saying yes to the things that serve you, help you achieve your goals, accomplish your dreams, and move forward and grow in the world. So one of the things is using your phone as a promise keeper for yourself, right? You got your schedule on there, it pops up. And I will tell you, I started out not great at this. And now I would say I am fantastic at this. It pops up and says, and I will tell you, it pops up and says, you need to go through your do it now folder and do the items. I will tell you, there's this little voice in my head that goes, nobody's going to know if I don't do that, or I'm just going to I'll do it tomorrow, or what. I have that little, then I have this voice, and this has been trained, is do it now. Just do it. Isn't it funny? I have a do it now folder, and I have to say do it now to myself to do it now with the do it now folder stuff. And then I do it now. Then I do it. And there's so many opportunities when nobody would have known if I didn't do these things in my schedule. I wasn't committed to anybody except for myself. But guess what? When you do the things that you promise yourself, you feel better about yourself. it grows your self-esteem. It grows your confidence. And when you're speaking to a seller or a buyer, or you're selling something, you can speak with incredible passion and commitment because they can count on you. Because you know what? You can count on yourself. So the first thing is keep promises to yourself. And then, of course, the easier thing, quite honestly, is to keep promises to other people. And I will tell you, if you struggle with number one, which is keeping promises to yourself, get an accountability partner, a coach, or a mentor for those things. It's like, oh, I've got calls 9 to 10. My first call has to be David. I have to call David at 9. He's my accountability partner. If I don't call him at 9, I have to donate $1,000 to like the worst charity in the world. So get some accountability around these promises that you make to yourself. That's the power of a call night for events, is when you have a call night for events, you get on the phone, you start getting this energy about you, and you guys are partying and having fun, and people are saying yes to coming to your event. Call nights are awesome, right? So, that leads to keeping promises to yourself and keeping promises to others. And the other part of this too is with the promises to others, even the little promises need to be kept, which is like, hey, son, I'll play with you on Saturday. Or, hey, son, Sunday is Sunday, which means I'm totally committed to you, which means no phone, no computer, no work while you are awake and we are bebopping around. And guess what? I will tell you, kids are great accountability partners when it comes to stuff like that. We're going to keep going. Is you tell someone that, hey, I'll give you a call back at noon. Here's the other thing is, let's say you're just not interested. Let's say someone talks to you and like you already have a warranty company, but it's another warranty company, right? And you're like, I've already got my one, right? But I don't want to hurt their feelings. Or it's just like, tell them, hey, listen, we do a warranty company review in October. So get back with me in October and we'll discuss it more, right? Which does a lot of things for everybody. One, it gives them the expectations. Number two is it gets them off your back every other month but October. And number three is they've got to follow up. And if they're good, they'll follow up in October. And like Janelle did in Kansas City, she followed up all the time. So guess what? She got a lot of our business. So and then it is let's say you told somebody you're going to call them at noon, put it in your schedule immediately that you're going to call at noon with a 5-minute reminder, put their phone number in there as well. Or you can do a reminder through Siri that like this, hey, Siri, remind me to call Sheri at 6 p.m. today. They did spell the name wrong, but they did get it. Boom. So I will be reminded to call Sheri at 6 p.m. today. Just like that, right? That's all you got to do. And you're going to forget. And you know what? You should forget. If you're just sitting there all day thinking, oh my gosh, I got to call Sheri at 6. I got to call Sheri at 6. You're not getting anything done. But now what can you do? You can forget about everything else, or forget about that and focus on the task at hand. Use your phone as a promise keeper to yourself and to others. Keep your promises. Be someone you can count on, both by yourself and from everyone else. And do the right thing every single time, which means disclose. It means be full of integrity, full of honesty, and just be a good person. And guess what? That's the heart and soul of character.
Well, and I don't want people to gloss over the fact that, and you've mentioned it a couple of times about like using your phone and using your calendar.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised at how many people, don't use the phone, don't use the calendar on their phone.
Yeah. Wow.
Because, like if you use, like we use Gmail, we use Google for everything. So we have Gmail email accounts, and the Gmail calendar that's attached to that too. So that's both of those are on our iPhone and they're on our PC and they're the same. Yep. So if you enter something on your calendar when you're working on your computer, it's automatically on your phone.
That's right.
Somebody doesn't know that.
Some people might not. They might not know that G Calendar does all that for you.
And vice versa. If you put something on, you're at the doctor's office and you put an appointment on your phone, it'll automatically show up on your computer. So,
as long as you put it in the Google Calendar, if you just put it in the Apple Calendar, the iCal, then it won't show up on your PC.
Not the Apple Calendar. If you're using the Google app on your phone, your Gmail will sync to both places. And it really, if you really dive into that, even if you're a person that's always used like a paper planner or whatever, if you can start doing that, because we are so mobile. Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody is so mobile anymore. How are you going to get reminded if you use a paper calendar? Yeah, you're not. You're going to get reminded when you look at it at the end of the day and you're like, oh crap. I forgot to call Cindy. I was supposed to call Sheri at 6 o'clock. Yep. And it's 9:30.
Yep. I used to be a paper person. I am a paper. I write notes, I have notes right here on paper.
So do I.
but when it comes to scheduling promises,
Yeah, the calendar is managed out of there. And like, if you ever are in a spot where you're going to take it next level, like I have my calendar in there and then Michael shared his calendar with me so I can schedule stuff for him to do.
and so does Tracy.
And so is Tracy. And I also help Max manage his calendar for all that his baseball and after school activities, doctor's appointments, that sort of thing. So when you get kind of next level with that, like our life is right here for work and personal. For sure. But I think that, that truly helps with your character. It helps you be able to do what you say you're going to do when you have that functionality at your fingertips. So,
yeah. Anyway. I mean, how does your integrity look when you don't call someone you promised? Bad. How embarrassing is it when you double book something? Mm-hmm. Well, once again, bad. And one of the things that the best do is they manage their time the best. They don't double book. They don't forget to call people back. They have some system that reminds them to do the things that they promised to do. So, character is that's what it is. It's doing, it's doing the right thing every single time, and it means not being shady. It means not being gossipy. It means being above all of that. It means having emotional intelligence, So do you get mad easily? Do you get emotional easily? If so, you need to learn to curtail that. You need to learn to reel it in, right? Never get too high, never get too low. That's a part of the character aspect too. Are you the lighthouse in the storm, or are you the storm around the lighthouse? Are you, we've worked with agents before where we handled the entire transaction. We have a phenomenal team. Everything's going smoothly, swimmingly. And like 3 days before closing, they'll bring some craziness up, like from an inspection or a repair item, or like they've got to create some chaos to show their value. It's been too easy. And they're worried that the buyer might say, well, you didn't earn your money. And it's like, no, you earn your money by taking care of all the problems and getting to closing in a very smooth, fashion. So, doing the right thing, no matter what, sometimes that's really hard. And doing the right thing when there's money involved. I will tell you that if you think you're going to save a few bucks, or you're going to make the money now, I guarantee that money will be out of your account times 10 before you even know it. There's so many stories out there where somebody sneaks something through a cash register, or they sneak something through a transaction, and then boom, they get in a car wreck and they've got repairs, or they find somebody keyed their car and it's not covered on their deductible. So karma is a thing. It is real. So I will tell you, just like keep karma on your side. And the way to do that is do the right thing, disclose everything, just be honest and upfront. People appreciate that the most.
Yeah. And I'm like looking at my additional questions I have, and like you've covered like all my questions.
Yeah, well, ask them. I mean,
I was like, so my next question was just like, how is trustworthiness linked to your character?
Yeah, what's interesting about trust is, everything we do is within the tribe of trust, our tribe of trust, the generosity generation. Join it today, joingengen.com. You can see how we run a tribe of trust. It's all based on trust. These are people we trust, and the people in it trust that we have filtered out the ones who aren't trustworthy. So trust is everything. Without trust, there is no relationship. Without trust, there is no next step. And it for some people, it takes a while to build trust. But me, I'm pretty trusting. I will trust you until I have a reason not to. And then once I have a reason not to, I'm probably not going to talk to you ever again. And unfortunately, that's how I roll. There's enough trustworthy people in the world that we can do business with them. But it is one of those where it's like trust is everything. And that's, once again, keeping your promises. That's telling the truth. It's everything. So do whatever it takes. And if you feel like someone, and this is extra level stuff that nobody talks about. If you feel like somebody's not trusting you, don't just go about your business and go, well, they'll learn. No, go, listen, I hint some hesitation here. I hint some, talk to me, talk us through this. What's going on? And you'll hear like, well, I heard you were listing my neighbor's house too. And it's like, okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how that benefits you. Right. And so then we can talk through how that benefits them. How does it benefit them to have 2 listings in the neighborhood instead of 1? Well, somebody might get really interested or find the other house on the internet, but like your house more, right? So the more houses we have listed in the neighborhood, the better off for you. So anyway, so I think that the big thing here is that, everything is trust. And the other part of trust, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is so good, is that under promise, over deliver. So many agents over promise, and I'm not just talking about real estate agents. Let's talk about salespeople. They over promise to try to get the person in the door, or they over promise to try to get the sale. And then once the sale happens, then the person gets an under delivery of services. The customer has a problem with it's so over promised that the car or the home or the transaction cannot live up to the promise, right? So I will tell you, one of the greatest things that you can do is learn to cover worst case scenarios and nuclear case scenarios. And let them know what it is without scaring the crap out of them, but just matter of factly, just say, these are some of the bad things that have happened. And guess what? Because I've been there, we can hopefully avoid those things. And so many times by telling them that, guess what? They're really happy, So I can tell you that under promising, over delivering is the secret to customer service, period. It is. Here's the thing. You walk into a Nordstrom's and you take 100 steps without being greeted. What's your reaction? You're like, I must not be important. What the heck is going on? Why? Because Nordstrom's has made this reputation that you'll be greeted like within 5 steps of coming in the door. And it's amazing. The last 5 times I've been in Nordstrom's, nobody greeted me at all. Right. And you hear the stories of Nordstrom's taking in tires for returns when they don't sell tires just to make the client happy. And I get all that. But you know what? You also hear about these different promises that are made, and then you don't experience it, you're let down. And, I will tell you that one of the best things you can do is tell the seller the truth about everything and tell the buyer the ugly worst case truth. Tell them there's going to be 100 things on the inspection report, because there might be. And you know what? We could go to the seller and tell them, hey, we want these 12 things done. And the seller could say, no way, we're not doing anything. And that happens so often in real estate. It's called, we have a buy as is clause in the contract. So it's, it's one of those where, but then the inspection report has 47 items. They're happy. You go to the seller and ask for 12. The seller comes back and says, we'll do 6. Your client's happy. Whereas if you went through the transaction otherwise, they would have thought 47 items. This house is trash, right? Even though 3 of them are GFCIs, and I mean, like, they're all relatively minor things. Yeah. And then, you ask for 12 and you only get 6, and the person's like, wow, they won't do the other 6. What's up with that? Or the seller comes back and says, we're not doing any. And the buyer bristles and goes like, I can't believe they're not going to work with us. Instead, our clients, your clients now, will understand that these things are a possibility, and they have already mentally prepared for them. What people hate is surprises. So,
and this talking about the worst case scenario, that speaks straight to your character, in that you've been there before. Like, I'm telling you this story about the process as a worst case scenario because I've walked down this path several times, and there's many different directions that it can go. So I'm just letting you know, like, this is where we're going. We're not sure which side street we're going to be going down yet, but like, there's plenty of options in front of us of which way this could go. It could go, seller wants you to take it as is. Seller might do a couple repairs. Seller might do all the repairs. And just letting people know that, it's like, oh, okay. Then as your client is like, okay, great. Then I know, I kind of know where I'm going. It speaks straight to your character.
That's right.
How do you maintain your strong character, your authenticity during a difficult time?
Don't be too attached to the outcome is one big dog, right? And that's sometimes easier said than done. When it's a $30,000 commission, or it's your house payment is due and the commission is going to make your house payment, right? And hopefully nobody is in that situation that's listening. But I just think that I have never been money motivated, and yet I've made a lot of money. And I think the reason I've made a lot of money is because I'm not necessarily money motivated. I can always make the decision without the money being a part of the decision. So take money out of the equation and go that way. And in difficult situations, I've just found that being honest and having open communication about it cures 97 to 100% of that. And I think and also being so comfortable with yourself, which goes into competence, which I can't wait to talk about in the next episode. Because when you're competent, when you're comfortable with who you are and comfortable with how well you do it, you can remain strong. You know it's okay. No matter what, it's okay. There is no real estate 911. There is no life or death real estate stuff or business stuff or there is none, right? There isn't. So guess what? We're just going to lay it out there and go from there. I remember having to tell a client, in the final moment, that the buyer of their home ended up changing their credit to the point where they weren't going to be able to, they lost their job and couldn't buy the house. Well, it ended up that, that was a bad moment, right? But I just had to let them out and let them know and lay it out there. And then it's like, all right, we need to get your house prepped and ready to go to sell again, and I know that was hard to hear, and I'm sure they wanted to yell at me, but they didn't. But I think the big thing, and we'll talk about yelling in a second, how to handle yelling. Is I think one big thing there is just laying it out there. There's like doctors who have good bedside manners, are able to be honest with you without killing you, literally and figuratively. And I believe that in the real estate world, we need to have good curbside manners, right? And good curbside manners is being able to deliver any kind of news in a very non-emotional, unemotional way. And just like, hey, listen, it is what it is. There was nobody who could have prevented this. The layoffs happened. They got fired 2 days before, closing. They were hoping to get into another position. It didn't happen. And here's where we're at. They don't have the financing. So, it's just one of those where I believe just talking through it, being open. And by the way, here's it. Mode of communication matters, straight out of 7 levels of communication. This isn't a freaking text. This isn't an email. Hey, I just wanted to let you know that the buyer's not closing on your house. That's a great text message to literally get your ass fired, and you deserve it. It's so funny. I see on social media all the time, and they're like, I'm so done with this bozo. Look at this text message he sent me. And I was like, I'm looking at the text message that person sent. And it's like, yeah, duh. You're trying to have this conversation through text. There's no tone. There's no sense of humor. There's no that's in today's age, more people have lost clients and transactions through text or email than I've seen in my entire life. And it's sad. Get on the phone or deliver it in person. That's it. And yes, I've delivered both those in phone conversations or, in person. And that's the proper way to do it. It's like breaking up with someone. You're not going to do it by texting or emailing or whatever. You're going to make the call, So, I think that's the big thing on delivering bad news. Here's the thing about yelling. So I remember one time that we were negotiating very hard because I knew we had leverage. I had the buyer in this case. And the listing agent, I'll just make up a name, Jackie, gave me a call. And she went off on me. She went off on me because we weren't moving. We weren't moving. We didn't have to move. My buyers were in a great position with cash and closing date and everything else. And we just didn't move. And she went off, yelling and screaming. And I go, Jackie, have I been rude to you? And it totally shut her down. And she was like, no. And then I heard click and she hung up. Right. And she literally hung up. And I was like, okay, and then she called me about 5 minutes later and she was just like, hey, I just had the roughest day. And, sellers are yelling at me. So I felt like I should pass that along to you, even though you didn't deserve it. And I'm sorry. And I just go, Jackie, it's okay. We're here to make, it's either going to happen or it's not. And you and we're here to make it happen or it's not. So, go see if you can make it happen. And if you can't, then my buyers are good to go. Right. We'll go find something else, and it worked out. We got it done. She remained calm and helped the sellers and kind of talked them off the ledge, quote unquote. And my buyers ended up giving a couple of little things, moved the closing date a little bit, and we ended up working it out. So
it's kind of tell about how you say there's 2 different islands that you can be on. You can be on emotional island or you can be on rational island. And I like your analogy on that.
I don't remember it.
Oh, you do too.
I don't remember it.
Are you kidding?
So you fill me in the details on that. I like that you set me up with one of my analogies. And I literally have not shared that analogy in probably 20 years. So
I know it's been a while. Right. I remember you talking with our buyers agents about it all the time, about this very thing, that when the other side of the negotiation,
where to go mentally
has moved over to emotional island.
Yeah, you got to be on rational.
no matter what, you have to stay on rational island.
That's right.
And that, because if you go over to emotional island and join them, it's going to cause a fire. Like it's going to get bad.
Yeah. So in our mind, we need to have emotional island and rational island, right? And emotional island, let the clients, we want the clients to go to emotional island, right? We want to talk about their dream home. We want them to give us the path. We want them to tell us, what they dream of and what they love and what they're passionate about, what their interests are. And we want them to be on emotional island. And sometimes it gets crazy on emotional island. Emotional island is the party island. Like they're really woo, right? And it's like, all right, so, and it's like, you're going to feel the urge, like when they get the listing or when they get the property or when whatever it is, to like jump onto emotional island and celebrate with them. And I'm telling you, like, don't do that. Stay on rational island and then, let them have the emotional experience, and you're going to provide the rational experience in this, in this transaction. And, one of the agents like, when can we go to emotional island? It's like, as long as you're a professional realtor, the answer is probably never, right? I mean, it's like you can go, you know what it is? Go to conferences and you can go to emotional island all you want. Just don't tell me about it.
Not with clients.
Yeah. With today's phone cameras and everything else, it's like, it probably doesn't pay to go to emotional island at all. Definitely. But here's the thing that we need to remember is, like, people cannot be emotional and rational at the same time. So we need that's the power of a coach, right? That's the power of great questions, is when you ask great questions, you allow the other person to go to emotional island and kind of stay there. And we all need to go to emotional island sometimes to figure out what really matters in our life, because, what really matters is usually matters of the heart, not necessarily matters of the checkbook or matters of rational, right? So, a coach remains rational and a client goes to emotional island, and it's all good. And I truly believe that it is that in the transaction, in the fiduciary, it is our job to be the ones that stay on the rational, logical side. And we allow our clients to kind of go to that emotional side, and they're going to be tears. There's going to be laughter. There's going to be, cheers. There's going to be, everything in between, and it's okay. And just being the calm in the storm instead of the storm amidst the calm. And there's a lot of wisdom to that. And, I also really refrain from being happy when they get the house, right? Because we still haven't we still haven't closed. We still haven't done the inspection. We still haven't done the appraisal. We still haven't closed. And I'm even at closing, like, not overly emotional. They'll celebrate with them a little bit. And then we'll have the housewarming party. And then I'm not even partying there. I'm working, so I'm the guy throwing the trash away and doing the catering. So it's just one of those, like, when the client's around, we pretty much have to put on this professional face and be that logical, rational person. Right. And I know that people really appreciate that. And I think the flip side of it is, I wonder if my family has maybe paid for that, in that I'm not very fun. I can be not fun. And then, Sheri and Max have definitely seen me go to emotional island a few times. But it is interesting that, that's why we need home to be separate from work. And that's why we need a go home ritual, which I can talk about later, which is, when does your work end? Right? As a realtor, I had to figure out to get that work to end at 6 o'clock, 9 to 6 were my hours, and I stuck to it. And I'm so glad I did, because I could take that hat, that emotional, almost stonewall machine. I had to take the machine hat off. Yes, I was a referral generating machine. I am a referral generating machine. Had to take the machine hat off, and I had to put the human hat on and go love on my mommy, and go love on my my daddy and go love on my wife and go love on my kid and go love on my dogs, right? And just relax. So wow, good cue on the emotional island and the rational island. That definitely back in the Maher team training.
That was from the Wayback Machine.
That was, and she's digging it. So that's why I showed it to her. So, well, I love that. That's good stuff. I mean, I think we've definitely done a deep dive on character, and it probably involves other things too. And, it just, I think another part of character is not making other people feel awkward. There's some people that just love to intimidate, or they love to, make others feel weird, or feel insecure or whatever. And that's not character, right? Character is making other people feel awesome, in my opinion. And being polite and mannerful. Please, thank you. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. And I think there's a lot of that in character as well. So, don't be a character, be a person of character. Wow. What a terrific episode. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and you are enjoying this 7-part series on Rise and Thrive in 25. I absolutely love the content and concepts that we are going through to help you have a base of knowledge to build your referral-based business off of. Hey, listen, can you imagine a business based on love, generosity, and appreciation? Can you imagine your life built on a base of love, generosity, and appreciation? And shouldn't your business and your life be aligned? Why would you want to go to work and act like a completely different person? Right? You don't. You want to be in alignment. You want to be in congruence. And guess what? This is what we're teaching. This is what you're learning. If you enjoyed today's episode, first of all, do yourself a favor. If you're on the podcast, then make sure you subscribe to the podcast so that you get continuing episodes of Referrals Podcast. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe there, hit the bell, let us know what you think, and also make sure you're subscribed so that you get indications and notifications when the next ones come up. Also, while you're here, if you enjoyed what you heard, you want to get more information, I've got a couple of great resources for you. Join gengen.com. Join the generosity generation. We are in the midst of the generosity generation. We have all graduated from the ego era to a more powerful nation called the generosity generation. And if you enjoyed what you're hearing today, you're going to be a great member, and we want to refer you, and we want your referrals. Join gengen.com, joingen.com. And then also, listen, get some help. As you hear the concepts, wouldn't it be great to talk to someone who can listen to you, understand where you're going, hear you, truly hear you, and then help you make it to the next level, help you put in a plan for the next level? Do yourself a favor and go to callwithcoach.com. Callwithcoach.com. Get signed up with one of our strategic coaches. This is 100% a call about you. No sales, no pitch, no obligation, no cost. Crazy, cool, make it happen. So join gengen.com, callwithcoach.com, make it happen. And also, I'll see you on the next episode of Referrals Podcast.